Olympic soccer star Christy Rampone, NFL Hall of Famer Harry Carson, and Meridian Health have some healthy advice.
How about this?
Challenge a friend to a competition. Tune into your health by setting goals, being active, and eating better. Do it every day, and you both win. So get active, be healthy.
Let's take it up a notch.
Learn more at tunedintoyourhealth.com. It's another way Meridian Health is taking care of New Jersey.
That enough?
The historic fourth season of the National Women's Soccer League continues tonight as Sky Blue FC hosts the Washington Spirit. Good evening and welcome to Yurcak Field. Alongside Dan Loletta, I'm Danielle Diavanzo, and thank you for watching us here on YouTube. Both teams come into the matchup undefeated as Sky Blue FC last weekend traveled to Seattle and did something that no team has done before, and that is defeat Seattle at Memorial Park.
Yeah, and both of these teams, they're now the last two teams to drop points in NWSL, so it's only week 2, but if we get a winner tonight, then that winner will be alone on top of the NWSL table. For the Spirit, they have a very deep roster, and they're trying to prove that they can translate that onto the field with results. For Sky Blue, a big win in Seattle, but they're trying to follow that up and show that it wasn't a fluke.
And as we saw, the Washington Spirit defeated the Boston Breakers 1-0 as they hosted the Breakers. Bicycle kick in the 3rd minute, and they held on to get the win.
They did. A lot of possession. The Joanna Lohman bicycle kick, which did not, by the way, win goal of the week. It got beat out by Steph Catley's free kick. But a good performance by the Spirit, but they didn't really get a lot of dangerous possession in behind after the first 5 or 10 minutes. And I spoke to Jim Gabera about that before, just a little while ago. I'm here with Washington Spirit head coach Jim Gabera, who is back at Yurcak Field after spending 4 years here as a head coach. How do you like being on the other side again?
Well, yeah, it's been 6 years since I went to this side of the locker room, but it's it's good. It's good to come back. It's going to be kind of strange playing against a team that was yours for 5 years, but at the end of the day, once the whistle blows, we'll be competitors.
A couple of lineup changes for you tonight. Can you talk about those?
Well, we've had a really good competition for our left back spot with Kleiner and Didasco, and we're going to go with Kleiner today. To give us a little more pace, a little more athleticism. Caprice did a great job. She's a little bit more technical of a player, and I think we're in a good position for when Ali Krieger goes with the Olympics, and they can both play either flank. So we want to make sure that they're both involved, and then we have to get Matheson on the field, so we'll start her over Benini.
And finally, a little bit quiet, I thought, for Crystal Dunn last week. Is it an adjustment for her now having so many other weapons up top with her?
I don't know. She just seemed to have a little bit of an off day technically, and it's one of those things where I think you're going to have one of those games once in a while, and I look at it as we're fortunate that we got the 3 points, and we didn't rely on Crystal. So hopefully that puts her in a little bit more relaxed and free mindset, and get back on this goal scoring train.
Thanks, Jim. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
And on the flip side, Sky Blue FC traveling to Seattle, as we said, 2-1 win. The first goal being scored by Natasha Kai, who was once upon a time a fan favorite here, but now returning again.
She were the Kai's crazy days of the WPS when she helped Sky Blue win the 2009 WPS championship. The team and Kai hoping to restore that a little bit. 1 game, 1 goal, pretty good start. She's back in there today, but a new partner, Maya Hayes with Kelly Conheeney. A little bit rundown, her first competitive soccer game in several years, and she got the game-winning goal, but Maya Hayes will be in there tonight. And Sky Blue with a really measured performance against Seattle. Not a lot of bad turnovers. They didn't allow the rain to get into their counter, and they did come up with that win. And as you mentioned, the first team ever to beat the rain at Memorial Stadium after 22 regular season games and 2 playoff games without losing.
And as we saw, Sky Blue FC had a very defensive-minded game, constantly having numbers behind the ball. Very impressive, where you'd see 8, 9 players behind the ball. And most impressive in that game, I would say, was Kelly O'Hara on the left flank.
She got my vote for NWSL Player of the Week, although she didn't come in the top 3 in the final vote tally. But I thought O'Hara owned the left flank, pretty much shut down Manon Melise, and also really was the focal point in the attack for both of the goals and a lot of the other attacking that Sky Blue did.
And a big thing about that will be tonight's matchup, which I think we both can agree the best matchup tonight will be Kelly O'Hara on that defensive left flank versus Crystal Dunn on the right side for Washington Spirit.
Absolutely. Dunn will be looking to bounce back, as we talked about with Jim, with a better performance than she had in the opener, but the Dunn versus O'Hara matchup will absolutely be something to behold. I think it's the best matchup not only tonight, but all weekend individually in NWSL.
It'll be speed versus speed and tactic versus tactic. And we had a chance to speak to Coach Christy Hawley about his lineup for tonight.
I'm here with Sky Blue FC head coach Christy Holly. Christy, a victorious debut for you on the sideline. How much of a relief is that, and were you the only one who wasn't surprised by that result?
It was nice to go on the road and get a victory, and no better place to do it than Seattle. We knew it was going to be a challenge. We knew we had to go there and respect them, but we have full confidence in our capabilities. So I wouldn't say it was a surprise, but we were definitely delighted with the result. But again, it's just the foundation. That was last week. We're fully focused on today, and last week's nothing without backing it up today.
One change this week, Kelly Conheeney, a little rundown. Maya Hayes comes into the lineup. How does that change things, and how about the difference with the Spirit as opposed to the Rain?
Yeah, I mean, the first change was predetermined. Just we know we have to be careful with Kelly, and that's basically what we're doing. So you're bringing in Maya, who's a fantastic player to come on. She brings us a load of speed. She's very dynamic and she's very direct in what she can do. And then definitely Washington are very different compared to Seattle in terms of their approach, in terms of their playing model. But same things before. We go on with our game plan and we make them play to our strengths, or play to our game. Apologies, and hopefully our strengths come out on top.
And finally, your fans are very curious when they might see Samantha Kerr on the field. What kind of update can you give us on Sam?
Sam's getting close, definitely. She's here now 3 weeks, I think it is, and she's in getting her treatment. She's running, full running at this point. We haven't introduced her to contact just yet, but that's probably about 2 weeks away. But again, we're working around her, how it feels, and we're very cautious about the timeline.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Enjoy the home opener.
Thanks very much. Looking forward to it.
And Dan, looking at tonight's matchup, what do you think are going to be the keys for both sides in order to get another win for both sides, one or the other, depending on how things go, obviously?
Well, I think for Sky Blue, they absolutely need to play very similar to the way they did against the Rain, measured defensively, not a lot of turnovers, and not allow the Spirit, who do have a lot of good players who can score and can attack, not allow them to get possession in dangerous parts of the field. And also, I believe if Crystal Dunn can play Kelly O'Hara even to a stalemate, there won't be necessarily a lot of other options for Sky Blue to attack. Kai scored the goal, but I didn't feel like she was very involved in the attack. Now, maybe she'll be better with a game under her belt, but I believe that if Dunn can neutralize O'Hara, that'll be a big step for the Spirit in getting a W tonight.
And as we saw last week, a lot of their attack did start with Kelly O'Hara. Natasha Kai, it looked like she was just a step off. Part of that could be because she hasn't played since the WPS, but now with the game under her belt, we'll see if she'll be able to get more involved into the attack tonight.
And that said, she didn't have a really great game in terms of what she did in the attack, but she got a chance in front of goal and she scored, and that's what goal scorers do. You don't need to be great for the entire game. You need to be great when the ball's near the goal, and that's what she did by getting that one goal. You see so many players who are dangerous throughout the game, but at the end of the night, they don't score. So you'd take a player who can score with one chance as opposed to a player who doesn't score with 8 or 9 chances.
And it really was the first attempt they really had at Seattle. Natasha Kai just getting the header in the opposite direction where Hope Solo was going. Nice placement. Wasn't the hardest header in the world, but when you got placement, that's all that matters.
And it also, I spoke to Laura Harvey, the Rain coach, about it, and she told me that the ball actually hit off Carson Pickett, the defender. Watched it again, and clear as day, not only do you see the ball hit Carson Pickett, but you see Pickett react in disgust that the ball hit her. So I thought Solo overplayed it a little bit, and still a good finish by Kai, but it did deflect just a little bit off of the defender.
And looking at the defensive side for Sky Blue FC, another very impressive player is, of course, Christy Rampone, coming back from the injury and still quick as anything.
She's unbelievable. She beat Merritt Mathias on a run to the goal line early in that game and really showed that, yeah, she's 40 years old. She'll be 41 in June, but she still got it. She is probably no worse than the 4th best center back in this league still at age 40. She did have knee surgery over the offseason, so you never know how she'll recover from that, but she looks fantastic so far.
I'll say first game out looked fantastic. We'll see. They have a longer time than we've seen in the seasons past. They didn't have as much recovery. This time they had a full week to recover. And now with Christy Rampone also leading that back four, would you say right now with the back four, what would be some of the focal points they need in order to shut down the Washington Spirit this evening?
Well, the Spirit are going to run a lot of, they're going to run Crystal Dunn at the back line, and Erica Skrosky is the player who will be on Dunn's side. She's a rookie. She's played on this field before in college, so she should be familiar. She should be comfortable here. Rampone will help her out. She had a very good debut, but sometimes seeing a player like Crystal Dunn can create a welcome to the NWSL moment. So Rampone has rookies on both sides of her. She'll need to keep them calm, and if she can do that, then the back line has a chance to hold up against Washington.
And looking at the Washington Spirit, they had quite a few opportunities to put that game away in Boston. They could have had a lot more goals, especially the one early on, the open net miss. But for Washington Spirit, what are going to be their key offensives to ensure that they can get past O'Hara and Rampone and score some goals tonight?
Well, I think Dunn needs to be better. Last year, Dunn was the focal point of the offense, and she wound up doing a lot on her own. This year, they brought in Katie Stengel, and they have Benini here for the entire year. Ordega, who's not even on the team roster for today, as someone who was at the World Cup and wasn't here for the whole time. Crystal Dunn has, I think, the best first touch in the world, so she needs to utilize that in not only tonight but throughout the rest of the season. I think she'll eventually adjust to having better players around her. Diana Matheson comes in, who's an outstanding player, so I think the Spirit will be just fine. They have a very good midfield. I think they're the deepest team in NWSL this season, so they just need to play solid soccer, and I think the results will come.
And of course, Jim Gabera making his return to Yurcak Field after being the head of the helm here at Sky Blue FC. What do you think the feelings are going to be when you had the former assistant coach going against the new head coach here?
Yeah, it happens, quite often. I think, Jim had some years here, some successful, some not as successful. Now he's back in Washington where he got his start in pro soccer. He was the original head coach of the Freedom way back in 2001. I know he's happy down there. His family is from Maryland, so I'm sure it's a little bit strange to be on the other side. I don't know if Christy Holly would have preferred a game under his belt here before seeing Jim Gabera over there, but these coach versus this former assistant battles are always interesting to see.
And as you said, Sky Blue FC has a lot to prove to say that their win against Seattle was not a fluke and that they are the real deal at this point.
Yeah, they really want to back that up. If they win again, they go top of the table. Most people pick them to finish in the bottom three, but doesn't matter what they get selected. It matters how they perform on the field. The one thing about Sky Blue, they don't have a ton of depth, so they're going to have to, don't have a ton of margin for error, so they're going to have to really play solid soccer and not have to rely on too much depth. They've got Sam Kerr back in a few weeks, but they're going to have to make do with what they have.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sky Blue FC home opener as they take on their NWSL arch rival, the Washington Spirit. I'm Corey Cohen with my partner, Dan Lauletta. We'll be on the broadcasts all season long here at Yurcak Field in Piscataway, New Jersey. Both of these teams, Sky Blue and the Spirit, both got 3 points last week in some one-goal margins. Very close games, and this one's going to be even more important. The winner of this game will stand at the top of the table. So, Dan, both of these teams really looking to get out to a positive start after the first two games of the season.
Yeah, for sure, Corey. First of all, it's a pleasure to be working with you this season. Looking at this particular game, a week ago, I think we had much different opinions about the teams. The Spirit, very deep team, a lot of returning players, new head coach, of course, the old Sky Blue coach, Jim Gabera, predicted by some to finish near the top of the table. Most predictions, myself included, had Sky Blue in the bottom three, but they surprised everybody by winning in Seattle, and all of a sudden here they are. Every other team in the league besides these two has dropped points. So as you say, if there's a winner today, that team will sit alone atop the table. It's only week 2, but 2 weeks in, got to start somewhere.
Especially for a program like Sky Blue. I mean, when's the last time that you could have seen Sky Blue at the top of the table? Even in week 2, that would be substantial. We see right there Katie Stengel, one of the team leaders for Washington. She just got to this program, coming over from FC Bayern Munich. She is an American. She's here in the NWSL, and so far it looks like she's going to be a big part of this team. Sky Blue has taken the field. The Washington Spirit have taken the field. Dan, they'll play 4 games against each other this season as part of the new schedule after the league added the Orlando Pride, that 10th team.
Yeah, kind of a scheduling anomaly. They wanted to do 20 games, so it's a home and home with the other 9 teams. That's 18, and then instead of taking 2 teams and adding a third game, each team is partnered up, and they get 2 extra games, so there will be 4 games between Sky Blue and the Spirit. So the one thing is you don't want to have that team that you're playing 4 times have your number, because that's an awful lot of points on the table if it's just one of those things where you can't beat that team.
Should be an exciting time. Let's go straight down to the field for all the action here at Yurcak Field on a beautiful night in New Jersey. Sky Blue starts with the ball, and their home season is underway. Take a look at the starters for Sky Blue. Natasha Kai starting up top as a striker. Midfielders, there are 5 of them. Shauna Gordon, Taylor Lytle, Maya Hayes on the right wing, Sarah Killian, and Raquel Rodriguez, the rookie. On the back line, Kelly O'Hara, the left back. Aaron Simon, who came in through open tryouts at right back. Center backs are Christy Rampone, the captain of this squad, and Erica Skrosky. And then rookie Caroline Casey in goal. Looking at Washington on the top line, Diana Matheson, who did not start last week after coming back from international duty with Canada, is on the left flank. Katie Stengel as a center forward. Crystal Dunn is a right wing. In the midfield, Christine Narin, Tori Huster, and Joanna Lohman. And then on the back line, Alyssa Kleiner, Shalina Zadorsky, Megan Oyster, and of course from the national team, Ali Krieger. In goal, they've got Canadian international Stephanie LeBay.
And the matchup to watch, Corey, is on Sky Blue's left side, Kelly O'Hara, and the right side for the Spirit, Crystal Dunn. They know each other well from the national team, and that should be a fun matchup. They should tangle with each other a lot tonight.
And so right now we see Washington with the ball. And it's passed to Ali Krieger, of course, from the national team. Up for Stengel, but it's taken away by Skrosky. Skrosky is a rookie, and she just graduated from Rutgers, so she played all 4 years of her career right here at Yurcak Field.
And Rutgers had the best defense in the country last season, at least in terms of goals against, and her defense partner, Brianne Reed, both drafted. Reed went to Kansas City.
We see Sky Blue working it up. A pass is taken away. Zadorsky has it. Shalina Zadorsky, another Canadian on this squad. Washington has a fair amount, and it'll be a throw-in the midfield for Sky Blue. Ball with Killian, now Rocky Rodriguez. And she passes back. All the way back now to Caroline Casey. Casey, another one of these rookies. I believe there are 5 in the starting lineup. Casey picked in the 3rd round. She's a graduate of William and Mary.
First team NSCAA All-American last season, which for folks who follow the college game closer than I do was a little bit of a surprise, but obviously she can play, and she showed what she can do last week in her debut in Seattle, becoming the first true rookie to win on opening day in NWSL play.
And she had one of the top saves of the week. She was up for NWSL Save of the Week. We see Skrosky with the ball, and she passes to Shauna Gordon from California. Another one of the young players on this squad. Played very well last week in that midfield role. Killian has it to Maya Hayes. Tough first touch, and she loses possession. Lohman has it, and now the ball is moving forward in the midfield with Washington. The Spirit send it back. There's some pressure from Natasha Kai, and Rampone gives it up to Simon. Right back to Rampone. She's going to have some room to work with it. Rampone backed up against the sideline now. Maya Hayes. Ball is out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for Washington.
And you can see early on the Spirit are not going to let the Sky Blue back 4 have any free outs from back there. They're going to be pressing. Sky Blue's going to have to mind themselves on the ball in the back.
Taylor Lytle has it, gives it to Shauna Gordon. Can she hold on to it? No, she loses possession, taken away by Ali Krieger. And that's sent out of bounds, so we'll see a corner, the first of the game for Sky Blue. I believe that's Kelly O'Hara set to take the corner kick. O'Hara sends it into the box, and it's caught by LeBay, her first save of the match.
LeBay's in an interesting spot with Canadian #1 goalkeeper Erin McLeod tearing her ACL a few weeks back. LeBay and Sabrina D'Angelo of the Western New York Flash went from sparring for the backup role to really sparring for who's going to be the starter when Canada gets to Rio for the Olympic Games.
Killian plays it all the way back to Caroline Casey. Killian, not a rookie anymore. She was last season after being drafted 2nd overall in 2015. She was a graduate of UCLA, 3rd-team All-American in college, as we see Sky Blue lose possession. And she had a pretty productive rookie season, Dan, but she's going to look to build on that this year.
Yeah, a little bit of an injury interruption at different times last season, and I think they'll look to keep her healthy and have a good second season.
Ball now forward with Narin. Sends it into the box. It's open. And a foul called against Washington as Casey had a save. There was some contact, I believe, on Lohman.
I think it went out of play before that cross came. I think that was a goal kick.
And so now Caroline Casey being pressured by Stengel. Rocky Rodriguez with the ball. Rodriguez again a Costa Rican international. She just graduated from Penn State, led her team as the captain to a national championship just a few months ago.
Also scored a goal at the World Cup for Costa Rica, so that's some pretty heady experience for a player fresh out of college.
Their first ever goal in the World Cup. She is a very promising player on the international level, and Sky Blue got her number 2 overall in the 2016 draft. Spirit working it on the left flank. Matheson has the ball. Into the box. Here's Dunn off the mark, as that looked to be a shot, but it could have been a pass really across and set someone else up.
It could have gone either way. Luckily for Sky Blue, it went all the way across the 6-yard box.
And so now ball with Zadorsky, and she passes it forward. Out of bounds for a throw-in. Sky Blue FC.
One note, you mentioned Rodriguez. If you haven't followed the Sky Blue offseason and you're looking for Nadia Nadim, she was traded to Portland on the morning of the draft for the rights to that number 2 pick that allowed Sky Blue to pick up Raquel Rodriguez. So a big loss, but a big gain for Rodriguez.
Absolutely. They wanted to get her, and they did. Stengel passes it over on the wing. Matheson has the ball, sends it into the box, but Shauna Gordon wins it easily with a header. Maya Hayes now. Killian back to Hayes, who's working on the right side. Lytle. Killian, and now back to the captain, Captain America, Christy Rampone. Skrosky. She's got a double team, but gives it right back to her keeper, Caroline Casey. Boot from Casey sends it to midfield, but Washington takes over possession. And they're attacking here. Played back. And all the way back to their defensive line, Megan Oyster has the ball. Oyster, another high pick. She was 13th overall just last season. She picked up a yellow last week in their match against the Boston Breakers, but she was the NWSL Defender of the Year. So this is a match for both teams. I mean, we talk about Sky Blue having youth and a bright future, but Washington as well. They've got a lot of talented, very young players.
Well, when Oyster came in, that number 13 pick 2 years ago, and has played every minute that the Spirit have played since she came into the league, which is quite unusual.
In fact, she's the first player and only player in Spirit history to play every minute of every single game in a season. So now Sky Blue with possession. You mentioned some additions and some losses. Nadia Nadim is gone. She's with Portland. They also lost Caitlin Ford, the Australian international. Brittany Cameron, the starting keeper from last year, is staying in Japan for the season. Katie Friels, Haley Hagsma, and Lindsay Cutshaw will not be with the team this season due to injury. But they did gain some players. Tasha Kai, we'll see her a lot throughout this match, I'm sure. She rejoined the team after winning the 2009 WPS championship. Obviously, then the rookies, Rocky Rodriguez, Caroline Stanley, Caroline Casey, and Erica Skrosky.
And there's also Kelly Conheeney, who scored the game winner last week. Not playing this week. They're really trying to mind Kelly's body. She hadn't played in quite a long time, missed several years due to concussion issues, and really hadn't played in a competitive match of consequence in several years, so they're just trying to take it easy with her.
And also Aaron Simon, a graduate of Syracuse. This is Christine Nairn, who's going to take the first corner of the game for Washington. Crosses it in. Ball's in the box. Goes over the head of Casey, but heads out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick for Sky Blue. Caroline Casey, 5'7", just 21 years old. As you said, the only rookie this season to get the win in the first game of the year. She is starting. Part of it is due to the loss of Brittany Cameron, who otherwise would likely have the starting spot, but also she really impressed the coaches in training camp. It was a battle between Caroline Casey and Caroline Stanley, who they acquired from Seattle. She had previously played a little bit in the league. Casey, obviously a complete rookie, but they like what she did. Offsides call as Kelly O'Hara was all the way forward. And Dan, when I was talking to Coach Holly earlier, he was telling me about the decision between Caroline Casey, Caroline Stanley. I know you talked to him about it a little over a week ago as well. And he said it was very tough to make the decision. They both impressed. But what he liked in Caroline Casey was how stoic she was. She wasn't going to be rattled against a team like Seattle, who's won the Supporters' Shield the past couple years. He went with her. She had a great game. And now, obviously, you've got to stick with her.
Absolutely. I spoke to him before the decision was made, and he said that once he made the decision, he didn't want that keeper to be constantly looking over her shoulder. So that keeper that he picked would likely stay in for a while. But she did show that last week that she doesn't get rattled. She had the one poor clearance that hit Manon Melise in the head, and somehow a little English on that ball, and it stayed out. You have to get a little lucky sometimes in soccer, but other than that, she was flawless.
Ball now with Dunn in the box and booted away by Rampone. Lytle sends it back to Simon. Simon will bring it forward, pressured by Lohman. Now with Taylor Lytle. She gives it up. Ball now with Nairn. Outside of the box, it's Katie Stengel. Takes a shot, way too much power, as that's headed into the parking lot.
And the Spirit here, a game and change in, are still waiting for Katie Stengel to be dangerous in the front line. She showed last week that she's composed on the ball, which is something that is very difficult to teach and acquire as a soccer player. But as you saw there, maybe is that shot a little bit rushed, not even close to on frame.
And she is a young player, just 24 years old. That said, last season with FC Bayern Munich, she led the Frauen to the Bundesliga title. One of the team leaders for that squad. She's come over to Washington, and we'll see what she can do stateside. Scored 9 goals last year with Bayern. Ball in the backfield with Zadorsky. She passes all the way forward, looking for Stengel, but the header is taken by Sky Blue. Crystal Dunn settles. She's got some room. Heads towards the center, and it's taken away by, there were a few players actually there for Sky Blue.
Well, wherever Crystal Dunn is, there figures to be more than one Sky Blue player not far away.
Some trouble here for Shauna Gordon. She passes back to Caroline Casey, and so far it looks like Washington has really had a solid piece of control on the game. They seem to be dictating the tempo. Forward now, looking for Maya Hayes. She's playing on the right flank, but a nice boot from Alyssa Kleiner knocks it out of bounds. And Dan, you were talking in the pregame show, speaking to Coach Jim Gabara about the decision to play Alyssa Kleiner after not starting her last week in favor of Caprice Didasco.
And what he said was that it really was an even battle between Kleiner and Didasco. So after going with Didasco, he decided to give Kleiner the opportunity today. It's a little different when you're not the goalkeeper. It's a lot easier to, I think, to mix players in and out of the lineup when it's not the goalkeeper.
And offsides call, a Sky Blue challenge there yet again, but it won't count.
And Kleiner's a neat story because she was an amateur last year in Portland, and I thought made a pretty good account of herself there. And one of the amateur players from last season, there were a lot of them with the World Cup absences, and she's got herself a full contract now, so good for her.
So about a little over 13 minutes in here. Still scoreless at Yurcak Field in New Jersey. Sky Blue has come home for the first time this season. They'll play 10 home games, this being the first one. Killian plays it back to Rampone. We'll see as the season develops if Captain America will be back with the national team. She's 40 years old now, and obviously she's still got the ability, but we're not sure if she will make the national team squad and head down to Brazil for the Olympics.
Word is she'll be in the May camp, which will lead into the friendlies against Japan the first weekend in June. But Jill Ellis was pretty upfront with us when we asked her about this after the U.S. played Colombia in Hartford, that she's told Christy Rampone that right now she's on the outside looking in. Things can change, obviously, but Ellis was pretty honest with us about that.
We know a couple players for sure will be on that squad. Kelly O'Hara from Sky Blue and Allie Krieger from Washington. Obviously, a couple other players in the mix. And certainly moving forward, you're likely to see quite a few of the players on this field join the national team, as there's a whole lot of young talent out here. Ball with Washington. Zadorsky tries to get it to Lohman, and Lohman has it, challenged by Hayes. Lohman passes back to Zadorsky.
The interesting thing, Corey, about Krieger and O'Hara is that even though O'Hara is the left back for Sky Blue, she's been playing right back for the national team, and that's really one of the pieces of intrigue heading into Rio, is which one of those players will earn the starting right back spot when they get to Brazil.
Out of bounds, throw in for Washington. And she is playing left back here, but Dan, we've been seeing her all over the field. We saw her off sides earlier, and Coach Holly was telling me a couple days ago, she's got the most freedom of really anyone on the team. She's so versatile. She played a striker when she was at Stanford in college. She can play really anywhere across the field, and Coach Holly has the freedom, gives Kelly O'Hara the freedom to really do whatever she thinks. As we see now, she's towards the midfield, and O'Hara has the ball.
She is, and in 2013, I had the privilege of doing sideline reporting on the Sky Blue broadcast, and the player that stood out to be the most with that up-close view was Kelly O'Hara. Does so many little things that I hadn't noticed when I got that up-close view of how she played. And at that time, she was sometimes the left back, sometimes the forward, like you said. It was really a lot of fun, especially with the team going this direction. She was 5 or 10 feet from me. It was really a sight to see.
She was the Mac Herman Trophy winner in 2009. Again, a couple of those on the field. Crystal Dunn won it a few years ago. And most recently, Rocky Rodriguez, the winner of the Mac Herman Trophy for the best player in college soccer. Crystal Dunn, the winner in 2012. She collected the assist last week when this Washington team beat Boston 1-0 on a bicycle kick from Lohman.
And if I told you there was a bicycle kick goal that wouldn't win goal of the week, would you have believed me?
I would not.
And it might have been, honestly, it might have been the worst bicycle kick I've ever seen that actually went in.
It was sort of an awkward bike.
And I think when you're the keeper and the player goes to take a bicycle kick, it's going to be awkward either way. And she kind of didn't get a good piece of it, but she was pretty tight to the keeper, and it went in the right place, so good for Lohman.
Throw in here. Lohman collects. Right back to Joanna Lohman. She's local for Washington from Silver Spring, Maryland. And Kelly O'Hara kicks it forward. Out of bounds, Washington throw-in towards the Sky Blue bench. The coaching matchup is definitely interesting here tonight, Dan, as the previous coach of Sky Blue is in the house. He's coaching the Washington Spirit. Jim Gabarra was here at Sky Blue at the helm for years. He left to be closer to home. He's from the Washington area, so now he's with the Spirit. And Christy Holly, a former assistant coach for Sky Blue, has taken the reins. Again, so far so good for Sky Blue fans. He looked great last week with the strategy heading into it, and it looks like he could really surprise some people.
I think so, and you look at this game, and the Spirit seem to have the lion's share of the possession so far, but I haven't really seen any mistakes by Sky Blue that are going to wind up doing them in. It's early in the game, long way to go, but that's how they're going to have to play the season. You know, he said there's going to be days where we're not very good because they're a young team with a lot of new faces, so how will they respond when they're not very good? And this is looking maybe a little similar to the first few minutes last week where Seattle just dominated the possession. Spirit not dominating, but Sky Blue not making mistakes. They've been very solid in their defending and the defensive play. You know, when they're in the back near the goal, they're making smart plays.
We'll see a free kick here for Sky Blue after a foul on Washington. Tasha Kai hit the ground. Maya Hayes has the ball in the box. Can she keep possession? She's got two defenders on her. Hayes loses the ball. Zadorsky now dribbling outside. Boots it. I was going to say out of bounds, but it stayed in just on the sideline. And so now Lohman cuts back. Great move by Joanna Lohman. And she delivers it to Christine Narin. Narin passes forward, looking for Dunn, but intercepted by Erica Skrosky. Back to Rampone. Now Simon. Simon loses it. Dunn coming all the way over from the right flank, over to the left side of the field. She doesn't cover as much of the field as Kelly O'Hara, but Crystal Dunn really has a lot of distance.
She does, and she's quick, and she's got a fantastic first touch. And that was a really nice play by Erica Skrosky, who's showing that she has a pretty good nose for where the ball is going to be.
Crystal Dunn probably happy that she's going to get to play 2 games here in New Jersey. She's a local from Long Island. Won the MVP award and the Golden Boot last season for the NWSL. And she is certainly one of the top players in the league. Pass back to Stephanie LeBay. Kleiner has it. Forward to Dunn, who's now on the left flank. Pretty interesting. We'll see if she stays there for the remainder of the game after starting on the right side.
Attention fans 21 and older, the Sky Blue FC Beer Garden.
Dunn last year was famously excluded from the World Cup roster. And I don't know if it would have happened anyway, but certainly seemed like she took out her frustrations on NWSL defenses.
Taken away that time. Sky Blue bringing the ball forward. Pass to Tasha Kai. Great footwork there. She's been out of the game for a while, but she's come back very fresh. Shauna Gordon has it. Passes forward, looking for Taylor Lytle. She won't get there in time. It's kicked out of bounds. And we'll see a throw-in for Sky Blue. Megan Oyster got rid of that. Nice interception before Taylor Lytle could make a play. Taylor Lytle, a native of Las Cruces, New Mexico, graduate of Texas Tech. Throw-in intended for Kai. And right back here to Kelly O'Hara. Passes in for Lytle. O'Hara now on the wing. This is how Sky Blue scored their first goal of the season. It was an assist from O'Hara into the box and a header for Tasha Kai. That's out of bounds, though, and we'll see Washington take the ball.
And it does look like Dunn and Matheson have swapped sides. You see Matheson on the near sideline here, Dunn over on the left. And if you ask coaches about that, usually, especially with players as good as Dunn and Matheson, they give the players the freedom to make those switches when they see fit.
Ball now with Naren. Passes over to the left side. Kleiner, the left back, is all the way up in more of an attacking role here, and here is Dunn. She's double-teamed, heading towards center. She wants to cross it into the box. She does. Nice communication there between Skrosky and Casey. Skrosky wanted to make a play on the ball. Casey, again, both players just rookies, but Casey able to make it known that she had that ball. Here's Kelly O'Hara. She's got the ball forward. Almost 22 minutes in here. And can Shauna Gordon keep it? No. She pulled up thinking that she wasn't going to have a play on the ball, so now we'll see a goal kick for Stephanie LeBay. 5'10", so she's got a few inches on Caroline Casey. It's no surprise why she's a member of the Canadian national team, as you said, fighting for a job. And she's new to this squad. She played last season professionally in Sweden. And so she is one of the new players for Washington, as we see Lohman with the ball. Another player to come over from Sweden was Stephanie Zadorsky. She played over in Scandinavia last year, and here she is in Washington.
Those are two really huge additions. They both came via the allocation process. LeBay was actually allocated to Chicago and then traded for Amanda DaCosta, who ironically and unfortunately was injured on opening night. Literally the last kick she took in warm-up. She strained her right quad. They had to make a late change, and she also missed last night's game for the Red Stars.
Fans visit the Sky Blue FC
23 minutes into the match here.
And get information on our birthday party packages and
ball played back to Zadorsky. A kick up now, looking for Katie Stengel. She gets ahead on it, but it falls out of bounds. We'll see a Sky Blue throw in.
And if you're not aware, if you don't follow the day-to-day minutia of the league, the allocation process has changed now. So when new allocated players come in, there's actually a list to draw from. So it won't just be randomly, well, Washington is getting Zadorsky. There's actually now a priority list. Right now, Portland is at the top of it. So if there was a new allocated player to come in, as of now, Portland would have the first opportunity to get them.
Kelly O'Hara with the ball in the box. Can a play be made? She crosses it in. Kicked out of bounds. Great work. I believe that was Tori Huster, the midfielder, coming all the way back to kick it out. And we will see a corner for Sky Blue. But a very good start. Nice play there from Kelly O'Hara after taking the ball away. A little more than 24 minutes in here. O'Hara takes the corner. A lot of power there, maybe too much power. Ball with Rocky Rodriguez. She creates some space for herself. Pressure from Katie Stengel. Lohman takes it. Back to Stengel, and she'll try to counter. Washington will slow it down a bit. All the way back to Alyssa Kleiner, who's being pressured. Now the ball with Tori Huster. She has 62, making now 63 career appearances with Washington. That is the most in Washington Spirit history.
The only non-allocated player from the original team in 2013. Team, by the way, that was not very good.
But Washington did make the semifinals the last 2 years, and so that was a team that, heading into this season, a lot of people had high expectations for. Header off the mark, as that was one of the closest chances that Washington's had in this game so far.
Yeah, that was Katie Stengel getting on the end of that and just shot it wide of the post. Also notable that Matheson and Dunn have gone back to their regular spots. Dunn on the right, Matheson on the left.
Dunn was one of the players on the U20 World Cup team in 2012, in which the United States won. Gordon fighting for the ball, but she loses it, so we'll see a throw-in for Allie Krieger and the Spirit. Krieger, and ball lost in the sun by Naren. As that was headed right towards her, she put her hands up in front. She couldn't see.
Yeah, the sun, it can be a big deal here. You can see right now looking at Caroline Casey, she's got her hand constantly over her eyes trying to see. I didn't think that ball was too high up in the air, but Naren clearly did lose it.
So a pass from Killian now with Christy Rampone. Ball on the right wing forward for Maya Hayes. Hayes chasing it. Can she keep it in? No. It's Washington ball. Maya Hayes didn't get the start last week. As you said, Kelly Conheeney, graduate of Virginia Tech, is not playing this week. That's a precaution. They were always going to be careful with her. So Maya Hayes, she just turned 24 from Penn State, obviously one of the top women's soccer programs in the nation. And we see her playing a right attacking forward or right attacking midfielder in this game. Drafted 6th overall in the 2014 college draft. Kelly O'Hara now on the left flank. And she loses possession out of bounds, so nice pressure from Allie Krieger. Again, the two national team players, a big matchup to watch. Kelly O'Hara goes down, foul called on her as she ran into Crystal Dunn, and it looks like O'Hara might be booked by the head referee, Matthew Kreitzer.
There's that Dunn-O'Hara matchup. I think we were hoping to get it a little bit closer to goal. And, you know, I'm not sure that I'm a fan of calling a player over in that particular case and slowing the game down for the conversation. I get the talking tos, and you're not going to take out the card, but that was probably a longer delay than maybe we needed to just to chat with Kelly O'Hara about that foul.
We see one of the members of Cloud 9, the supporters group here with Sky Blue, amping up the crowd.
Yeah, pretty good energy in the Yurcak tonight.
And a lot of youth here, not just on the field, but also in the stands. A lot of children here at the game having a great time and cheering on their favorite New Jersey NWSL team. Crossed into the box, too much power, and out of bounds. We'll see a goal kick from Caroline Casey.
First thing that I noticed when I pulled in was the big party bus in the parking lot. Turns out it's a bunch of friends of Christy Holly. Got a party bus, and they're out there, and I believe maybe the Rampone family. I don't know if they came on the bus or if they joined forces in the parking lot, but apparently the Rampones and the Hollies were spending time together.
Well, it's pretty interesting because Rampone has been a coach of this team in 2009.
That's
Kelly
true.
O'Hara has the ball. Krieger now passes it in to Oyster. Back to Krieger. She's caught in the corner, right back to Oyster. And now Sky Blue. Sarah Killian. Lohman's on her. Killian crosses, looking for Simon. Back to Killian, but off the mark, a bit of a miscommunication. Killian maybe thought there was someone behind her. And we'll see the counter started here by Crystal Dunn. Dunn looks for Katie Stengel. She's got her just outside of the box. Now Matheson crosses in, header. Crystal Dunn has it. She's going to have some time. No offsides call.
That was a really nice first ball in from Dunn there on that counter, and Stengel didn't get a great touch on it. Spirit didn't necessarily have numbers for their counter, but I thought Crystal Dunn made a really good pass into Stengel.
And it's very obvious how much talent Washington has on that front line with Crystal Dunn, Katie Stengel, and Diana Matheson. Just the three players there, but they were working pretty well.
They're going to need them to click, and so far,
Crystal Dunn that time off sides.
So far, I'm not sure I've seen Stengel and Dunn, what I would say, clicking. I think Stengel played 64 minutes last week and another half hour tonight, so it's only a little bit more than 90 minutes together. But I haven't seen it just yet. We'll give them some extra time. It's only game number 2, and Dunn was out with the national team for a good part of preseason.
About 30 minutes in here at Yurcak Field in New Jersey. We'll see a throw-in for Alyssa Kleiner. And as you were saying, Christy Rampone, I'm pretty sure she's older than head coach Christy Holly. And, yeah, she's still playing at a high level. Obviously, he's coaching. Holly, the assistant coach here for the past few years. Irish international, has taken over. And so far, he's really focused on the chemistry of this team, along with assistant coach Paul Grieg from Scotland. They were talking about a lot of things that they've done to work on the chemistry to make sure this is a team that's really clicking. As we see Skrosky with possession, O'Hara, and it's out of bounds, Sky Blue throwing.
When I spoke to Laura Harvey on Monday after the loss for the Reign against Sky Blue, one of the things she kind of dropped in the conversation was that she thought that it was the most she had ever felt Sky Blue was playing for each other during a match. And she quickly threw in the qualifier that that's not a criticism of anybody who had ever been there in the past. But that's a pretty interesting observation from one of the better coaches in this league.
And we've seen some really interesting methods. Maya Hayes going for the ball, but Zadorsky gets rid of it. And one of the things just in pregame when I was talking to Coach Paul Grieg was about, if people have followed on Twitter, the Sky Blue FC Twitter, they were having an SBFC challenge where they basically just gave a list, and this was Coach Grieg's idea, of crazy things to do. Have a flash mob in some public place, pump gas, take a picture at a fire station or in an ambulance or in a cop car, something like that. And they divided the team through different positions, different ages, people that might not normally hang out together. They developed a really strong bond. They had a great amount of fun. Christy Rampone and her team, who ended up winning the challenge, by the way, they did the Macarena with over 100 kids in an elementary school, and it just looked like the players had a lot of fun, and they really developed a team bond that moving forward can only benefit this team with this new coaching staff and a lot of new players.
And Holly hasn't hidden from the fact that he knows that Sky Blue's reputation around the league is not necessarily the best. He's not running from it, and his goal, he is bent on making that reputation better, and part of that is through winning soccer games.
Tasha Kai, not really a bicycle kick, but tried to kick it back unsuccessfully. A little more than 32 minutes in here. And exactly, as you were saying, Coach Christy Holly, he was talking about the fact that in the preseason, people might have written off this team in the past. We saw on KeeperNotes.com, for instance, they picked Sky Blue at 10, Seattle at 1. On your site, The Equalizer, a couple people picked Sky Blue at 10, Seattle at 1. And then we see last week, first game of the season, Sky Blue goes into Memorial Stadium and does what no team has done, and that's beat the Seattle Reign at their home.
And it's important to note also that last season, Sky Blue opened the season with a 1-0 win in Kansas City. Nadim scored a goal. That's going to be a goal kick. And some people were saying, well, maybe that wasn't actually an upset. Maybe Sky Blue has passed by Kansas City. Well, what happened after that? Sky Blue came back and didn't win again in their next 10 games. And Kansas City dropped to 0-2. They lost again the next week to Washington, ironically enough. But they ended the season repeating as NWSL champions. So great win for Sky Blue last week, no question about it. But it is 1 week on the calendar.
And really, that's one of the most important parts of this game. And as I was talking to the coaches earlier, why this match is so important, because if you lose this game to Washington, people can say, well, that game was just a one-off, maybe you got lucky, and just write it off. But if you can win this game, you're at the top of the table, people are for sure that you've got a legitimate good thing going on here in New Jersey, and that's why, for many reasons, they want to win this match. Skrosky plays on Dunn. Washington Spirit come away with it. Ball now with Krieger, who's playing forward, and taken away by Killian. Taylor Lytle, now Rocky Rodriguez. Rodriguez, she's got a lot of room. Washington isn't pressing her. Huster letting it go. Maya Hayes aims right back for Rodriguez, but it's off. Ball here in the back line and played to Stephanie LeBay. Just about 10 minutes to play here in the first half. Still scoreless in the home opener for Sky Blue FC. Crystal Dunn. Kelly O'Hara has it. Backwards. Now Skrosky. She's got plenty of room. Washington not pressing her here. As we saw a lot of pressure earlier in the game. They might be getting tired. They might just have adjusted their strategy. But they're giving Skrosky some room now. Ball with Killian, playing really as the anchor of this squad.
Well, they might feel like they have a little more traction if they can somehow win the ball right around there and set up a counter. Not quite like that.
Ball with LeBay. Now Oyster.
But an awful lot of this game has been stalled out in the midfield.
Krieger at the midfield. She's being challenged by Lytle. Here's Megan Oyster. And she passes across to her fellow center back, Shalina Zadorsky. Zadorsky, 12 caps with the Canadian women's national team. Ball deflected off of Rodriguez, but it will stay with Washington. Both teams laying off just a little bit, now over towards the left. Ball now with Matheson. Center for Crystal Dunn. She takes a shot. That was close, just off target, but a lot of power behind Crystal Dunn.
And you can really see there what Crystal Dunn is capable of. She can separate from most defenders with her brilliant first touch, but in that case she wasn't separated and still managed to get off a really solid shot. And it was one of those fooled you shots because it hit the outside of the goal and rattled the net around. So on first glance, sometimes you think those are in.
Exactly. You have to be a little bit careful not to make the wrong call. Ball with Kelly O'Hara. Near the sidelines, Rocky Rodriguez. Good first touch. She breaks away from Lohman. And we're already seeing plenty of skill from Rodriguez. She missed a lot of the preseason due to visa issues, things like that. She was in Costa Rica. But you can already see the chemistry that she's working with the team and all the talent. I'm sure Sky Blue is very happy that they traded up to take her number 2 overall in the draft a few months ago.
Yeah, I thought even when Costa Rica played the United States and got blown out twice, I thought Rodriguez stood out as by far the best player on Costa Rica's side.
A little more than 37 minutes in here in the first half. Rampone is working very forward here, trying to hold on to it, and she keeps possession. Great job from the captain of Sky Blue. Simon. And this is Killian. Killian sends it forward. Too much power. She was looking for Shauna Gordon, but it's picked up by Stephanie LeBay. So about 8 minutes here to play in the first half. Again, still scoreless. And so far, earlier it seemed like Washington had control, but really this match seems pretty even right now.
It does. Even, and there's really not a lot happening. A lot of the plays in the midfield, there hasn't been a great chance, I don't think, really, from either side. Stengel had that header that went wide. Dunn got off a nice shot. But there hasn't been a lot of beautiful attacking soccer here through the first 38-plus minutes.
Not a ton of really obvious chances. There were a few that, as you were talking about, there were shots, but maybe not on goal, maybe not the most difficult to save. You're right, Dan. Not some incredible opportunities in this first half of play. Katie Stengel double-teamed, and she manages to hold on. Great work from Katie Stengel. That shot way over the head of Caroline Casey. Too much power from Christine Nairn.
And that's within Nairn's range there. She can rip it from good 25, 30 yards out, but that's part of the reason why there hasn't been a lot of chances. Stengel had the ball, multiple Sky Blue defenders around her. Stengel played it back to Nairn, but was unable to find an open player going forward.
Nairn, we should note, had the second most goals of anybody on Washington last season. She scored 5 last year. Aaron Simon pressured, boots it away. It's out of bounds. A throw-in for the Spirit in the 40th minute. Ball in the air. A battle between Washington and Sky Blue. Out of bounds. It'll stay with the Spirit.
And I think, Corey, that this type of game might not be that pleasing on the eye, but I think it'll suit Sky Blue just fine to be able to kind of kill the game off in midfield, take their chances when and if they get them, and just stifle the opposition's attack, especially early in the season.
Ball on the right side. Krieger has it. She's all the way forward. Sends it into the box. Casey's there. A goal from Allie Krieger. Puts Washington on top. Caroline Casey thought she had it. Maybe a little too confident. Went right over her fingertips. And the Washington Spirit are on the board here. Let's take a look at that replay. Again, Caroline Casey, she could have taken a couple steps backwards. She seemed pretty confident that she had the height. Went right over her fingertips. What a shot from Allie Krieger.
It is a nice shot. When I first saw it, I wondered if maybe Casey's first reaction was that the sun was in her eye and that might have made her hesitate just a little bit, but that's certainly a misplay by Casey. And, again, that still wasn't a great bit of attacking soccer, but a fine finish from a very off angle from Krieger, and it's 1-0.
Incredibly difficult angle, and that was a shot that it seemed like Krieger wasn't even expecting to score. And again, just went right over the hands of Caroline Casey. Raquel Rodriguez now with the ball. She's about triple teamed. Passes back to Sarah Killian. Rampone is up. Into the box. Taken away by Stephanie LeBay. Great grab.
Goal scored by number 11, Allie Krieger. The assist on the play, number 23, Tori
And so the
Huster.
assist is credited to Tori Huster. That was really all Allie Krieger, though.
Washington leads 1-0.
Crystal Dunn. Now on the left side, we see Christine Nairn forward with Matheson. Matheson being defended by Aaron Simon in the corner.
So now for the first time this season, we'll see Sky Blue have to chase the game a little bit.
Across into the box, deflected off Killian, and she passes for Simon. Simon can't get there, and we'll see a throw-in for the Spirit.
And it's too early to chase the game in the figurative way where you start throwing numbers forward and leave yourself exposed at the back, but it's a different game when you fall behind, especially against the Spirit team that looks like it's going to be pretty good defensively.
Absolutely. Again, a lot of talent with the Spirit, not just at the front, but also in the back. We've seen some great performances, obviously, from Allie Krieger, but then also, so far, Shalina Zadorsky has really been the anchor of that defense. Again, just came to this team. This is just her second game with the Spirit, and she is leading that back line. Header won by Tasha Kai. Kai, member of the U.S. Women's National Team and Sky Blue in 2009 when they won the WPS Championship. Stepped away from soccer, played rugby the past few years, and she is back. Really put a jolt into the offseason plans of Sky Blue.
And a good story on excelsports.com about Tasha Kai and about how part of the reason she came back was that her father passed away, and one of the last things he told her was to follow her heart. And she felt that her heart sent her back onto the soccer field.
And she certainly seems happy to be back. Tasha Kai intercepts the ball. Can she keep it in bounds? No. Could have been a big counter. She's frustrated, as you can see. But nice job to disrupt that play from Tasha Kai. Kai, obviously, very easy to spot on the field with the color of the hair. She's got over 60 tattoos. And she is one of the most distinctive players in U.S. soccer. Ball with Rampone. Lytle. This sent all the way to the left flank. Kelly O'Hara. Kai heads center. O'Hara looking to cross. Sends it in. Headed away. 44th minute here. The first half is about to conclude. We'll see if either team can create some action before halftime.
There shouldn't be any stoppage time. There's only been 4 or 5 whistles.
Yeah, no yellow cards, barely any fouls, obviously no substitutions. Cross into the box for Washington. Dunn gets a head on it, and that will head out of bounds. We'll see. No, they're going to call that a corner. I thought that Dunn got her head on that.
I thought she did too. Must have deflected off Skrosky, because as if Dunn can't do enough at 5'0", she can also get her head on balls that are sent into the box against center backs.
Yeah, Crystal Dunn, definitely a shorter player, but she's everywhere. The youngest player to win both the NWSL MVP and Golden Boot in the same season. She scored 15 goals last year.
Many of them of the spectacular variety.
Sam Kerr for Sky Blue. She's not playing tonight, as she's still injured. She didn't play that many games last year, but in the 9 games that she did play, she had 6 goals. Casey, that's close. That was close to the line.
Taylor Lytle cleared that off the line with her head.
That was right on the line. And we don't have goal technology here, but it was close. Hayes is fouled. Without a doubt, a whistle is going to be called there.
That's got to be a yellow card.
Yeah, it looked like it was a 1-on-2 breakaway. There's the yellow.
And it's a good yellow on Zadorsky there.
Absolutely, I agree. Very smart. Without the foul, Hayes would have at least had a shot.
Minimum of 1 minute has been
As we see there, Kai got it out.
That can change the game, though, when your center back gets in the book in the first half. Sky Blue now can maybe focus some of their attack on Zadorsky because she'll have to be careful about picking up a second one.
Incredible move looking at the replay from Taylor Lytle as the ball was right on the line after it was deflected up from Caroline Casey. And if not for Taylor Lytle, Washington would have 2 goals. So Zadorsky, again, with the yellow card, as you were just saying, she's really anchored this entire back line. And she's going to have to play the rest of the match with a yellow. Oyster, the other center back in this team, got a yellow last week. This is headed out of bounds. And we'll see a goal kick for Washington. The half might be coming up in just a few moments. And that is exactly it. So that's halftime. Washington scores a goal from Allie Krieger after Caroline Casey misjudged it. Close to scoring a second goal, if not for a header from Taylor Lytle. So a very exciting first half. Not that many chances for either team. Washington gets on the board. They lead 1-0. We're going to take a quick break and then send it to the halftime show. Then we'll come back with you right before the second half of play and bring you all the action there. So one more time, Washington Spirit leads Sky Blue FC 1-0 in the home opener here in New Jersey. Stick around for the halftime show.
Did the headsets work?
They did. Well, I could only hear on the left side, not the right. Now I can actually hear on both.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Team Snap has taken the organization of youth, recreational, and competitive sports
Now I
into
can
the
hear on
21st
both. It's
century.
really clear.
10 million coaches, administrators, players, and parents use Team Snap's web and smartphone apps
That's what
to
matters.
sign up, schedule, communicate, and coordinate everything for the team, the club, and the season. Team Snap makes organizing sports as simple as click, tap, and go. For more information, please visit teamsnap.com. If you have a nomination for Most Valuable Coach where you'd like to see honored at an upcoming Sky Blue FC match.
Good?
What? Yeah, I'm good.
We're going to do an interview in here. You guys ready?
You want a seating?
No, standing right there.
Standing on the door?
Yep.
Okay.
Put your headsets on. All right.
Fans 21 and older, the Sky Blue FC Beer Garden is open for business. We invite you to stop by the Beer Garden during halftime and any time before the 70th minute of our match. If you do choose to drink alcoholic beverages, please do so responsibly.
You stand over here.
Oh, sure.
That's it. You can come away from the wall. Right here.
We good?
And right there.
Do I look good?
Never better.
Thank you.
Stand by.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sky Blue Halftime Show. I'm your host, Evan Davis, and I'm joined for this historic National Women's Soccer League fourth season home opener at Yurcak Field by Mr. Howard Megdal, editorial director of XBL Sports. Thank you so much for joining us today, Howard.
Glad to be with you.
A very interesting and very exciting match, I would say, in this home opener. 53% to 47% possession in Washington Spirit's favor. Not necessarily too much of note, but that is because Sky Blue had everything to do in the first 20 to 25 minutes of this game.
It's just a remarkable thing to see. You know, when Crystal Dunn comes out and dominates for the Washington Spirit the way she does, there's so much that a team needs to handle on the defensive end, and it starts at any point on the field. And so when it comes down to trying to do what you can to limit her, it opens up a lot of other things for Washington, obviously. But you know, just the remarkable part about Crystal Dunn is the way in which she impacts across the field what else has to happen as a result.
attacking from the right side, deciding to attack from the left side when she feels like it. And then when the defense does get split, we see Diana Matheson giving Erin Simon a handful on that right side as well.
The net result, of course, I think, is that it ended up putting Sky Blue on their heels very much in a way that we didn't see last week. And that was significant. I think it took until about, say, the 25th, 30th minute for see someone like Raquel Rodriguez start to have the impact on the run of play that she needs to have for Sky Blue to be successful. And that was a very significant part in this first half. I also think that whatever momentum that Sky Blue had from that went away, obviously, in that magical moment in the 40th minute.
Talk about the goal in the 40th minute. Of course, it had to be Ali Krieger charging up that right side. Almost looked like she wanted to cross it into the box, but somehow the ball just found its way into the top corner.
Am I crazy, or was there like late life on that? The way you would see like a fastball.
Ball definitely had a life of its own, yeah.
To see that right at the end, Caroline Casey was in pretty good position, it seemed like, to be able to make that save, and then the ball just kind of sailed right at the very end. It was really a spectacular thing to see.
We also need to talk about Kelly O'Hara working her magic. She seemed very lively, pushed a little further up ahead than maybe we would have initially anticipated in this game. But it seems like she and Ali Krieger are having a lot of back and forth on that touchline.
Very clearly Sky Blue is still trying to figure out where their attack is going to come from. And so O'Hara taking on more of that responsibility is something that may end up not being the way they get from point A to point B, but it's clearly something that she thinks is very important as of this moment. And, it's a great effect in the first half.
Now, we mentioned Raquel Rodriguez. This is a brand new central midfield pairing this year for Sky Blue FC. Sarah Killian, of course, the second overall draft pick in 2015. Raquel Rodriguez, this year's second overall draft pick for Sky Blue FC. What is the relationship that you see developing between these two players? Because they really did seem to grow into the game as the first half progressed.
I think that's the key, is seeing the way they work together. And, last week, Raquel, a very, very talented player who I think is going to have a tremendous impact this year, but I think struggled to find the pace in the first game in the way that Sarah really did, and that year of experience made a huge difference. But I think Sky Blue really rises and falls largely on the way in which those two interact, and with such talent, I think it's pretty optimistic for the long term when it comes to Sky.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we're setting up for the famous Sky Blue FC halftime tennis ball toss, presented by iPlay America.
Sorry for those technical difficulties. Thanks for joining us again. Evan Davis along with Howard Megdal of XL Sports. Thank you for joining on the Sky Blue halftime show. I believe we were just talking about the central midfield and some of the defensive issues that we saw. I believe it was in the 29th minute, a vicious counterattack from Crystal Dunn, just in oceans of space. What in the second half do you think players like Sarah Killian and Raquel Rodriguez and the backline in general need to do in order to close down those kinds of spaces in the second 45?
I mean, realistically, the giveaways have to be kept to a minimum or stopped completely. There's really nothing you can do. Dunn has such pace that once she gets that opportunity, and Ali Krieger obviously coming up the side as well, there's really nothing to be done at that point. So it has to really stop before it starts.
53% possession for the Washington Spirit to Sky Blue's 47%. So the numbers do suggest that Sky Blue might be able to work their way back into this game.
I don't think this was a one-sided match in any sense of the word. It's just really a question of Sky Blue, A, getting those opportunities, and B, being able to take advantage. Although you could argue it another way, which is to say that chance that Dunn had early on that she didn't bury, this could easily be a 2-0 score.
Now we also need to mention, in stoppage time, the Shalina Zadorsky yellow card. What did you see in that challenge?
Yeah, I saw that it was pretty clear, and it was over the top and unnecessary. And so, getting the yellow there was clear. But of course, Washington did a really good job of limiting the problems that came from that as a result. And so it ended up not hurting them the way it otherwise might have.
In addition to Kelly O'Hara, obviously there needs to be some more attacking options for Sky Blue, especially if they want to get on the scoreboard and equalize in the second half. Where do you think that's going to come from, and where is the link-up play going to come from in the midfield? How do you blend those two things together?
I mean, that's the key question for Sky Blue when you get beyond the central midfield pairing is, where does that come from, especially with Leah Galton, out until she graduates from Hofstra. And so there's no one right answer for that. I don't think Sky Blue has figured that out quite yet, but it might just come down to Tasha Kai working her magic the way she did last week.
And she was putting in a really good shift, defending from the front pretty healthily, and you can actually hear her coming off the pitch, which is to be expected. Howard, you've been recently named the editorial director of XL Sports. If you don't know, go to xlsports.com, EXCELLE sports.com, a brand new sports magazine devoted completely to women's sports. Howard, what is the mission statement for XL Sports, and how do you see it fitting in the sports media landscape as we find it today?
It'll fit beautifully because our mission is to cover women's sports leagues as if they are leagues. It's a truly subversive idea to take them seriously and treat them as if they matter, which they do. And so my intention and my belief, and so far in our execution, has been to make sure that the NWSL is covered not just occasionally, not just when something notable comes up, but every single day. The WNBA is covered every single day. Women's sports across the spectrum is covered every single day, and treating it with the respect it deserves and giving us an opportunity to understand not just the most important, the most famous female athletes, but a broad spectrum of female athletes and get the opportunity to tell their stories every day and repeatedly. It needs to be in the atmosphere the way it is for men's sports. And so it's a remarkable opportunity that the CEO, Tim Donaldson, has provided, and I'm very excited at the chance.
As it relates to Sky Blue FC, you recently ran a wonderful profile on Natasha Kai. Talk a little bit about how that profile came to be and some of the things that you found out about Tasha that you might not have known before you reported on that piece.
Well, it was remarkable. So the person who wrote it was Adele Jackson-Gibson, and she did a wonderful job with it. But what Adele found out was essentially what brought Tasha back to soccer was a promise made to her father as her father was dying. And so it was just this remarkable story, and it's interesting. Tasha was a great story, and she's fun to talk to, and, I knew that before Adele came and did that. But there are so many stories like that that don't see the light of day on a regular basis unless it's someone who has broken through into the mainstream. And so what I'd like XL to be is a conduit for all of those stories. And it's been a beautiful thing to be able to talk to leads, to be able to talk to writers about this and say, we want to write about this, we want to write about that, you shouldn't miss this story. And I've gotten to say yes a lot, and that makes me very happy, and it's really gratifying.
Well, that's the most important word in women's sports, is being able to say yes and spread the word of the game. Second half coming up right after a brief break. You'll be joined again by Corey Cohen and Dan Lauletta on the call. I'm Evan Davis, Howard Megdal, editorial director of xlsports.com. Thank you so much for watching the Sky Blue Halftime Show.
Hello and welcome back. We're just about ready to begin the second half here at Yurcak Field in Piscataway, New Jersey. I'm Corey Cohen with my partner Dan Laletta. Dan, let's talk about that first half that we saw. One thing interesting from the stat sheet, obviously Washington got the goal. For Sky Blue, though, they didn't register a single shot on that stat sheet.
You know, we both did a double take when we got handed the stat sheets about 3 or 4 minutes ago. I'm not surprised. Can't really remember any time that they were dangerous at all in that half. The Spirit weren't that dangerous either. I think the difference in this game right now is the special players on the Spirit. That's Allie Krieger. Maybe she's not known as a goal scorer, but she put a dangerous ball in. Carolyn Casey, the young keeper, misread it, and it went in the goal for 1-0. It almost happened again with Dunn in the mix, and Taylor Lytle cleared it off the line. But here is Sky Blue. They do not have a lot of attacking options off the bench right now. Coco Goodson can come in and get her head on some balls, but she's not a player that's going to come in and really wreak havoc on a back line. So they're trailing for the first time this season, and they'll have to figure out what to do with that.
And so with this attack coming in, obviously Tasha Kai, not a ton of experience lately. Last game was her first game back in a few years playing soccer. She did score last week, but what's she going to have to do to really provide an effect? Because we didn't see too much of her in the first half.
Well, a couple things about Tasha Kai. Even in her heyday, back in the mid to late 2000s, she wasn't really a 90-minute player, so she's going to have to probably do whatever she's going to do here in the first 25 to 30 minutes of the second half. But number two, she's clearly not at this point going to be coming back to retrieve a lot of balls in midfield, so Sky Blue's going to have to figure out how to get her involved with ball movement and getting her runs on that Spirit backline. The Spirit backline's been pretty good for 2 games here.
And without a doubt, they're going to be missing Kelly Conheeney, who did score one of the 2 goals last week. She's not playing in this game. She's out with, they're taking precautions on her. And so it's going to be interesting to see how Sky Blue is able to work the rest of the game. We're just about ready to get started here. The teams have taken the field. As you can see, Washington leads Sky Blue 1-0 here in the home opener for Sky Blue FC. No substitutions. Teams' rosters are the same. And so let's head straight back to the action here at Yurcak Field. And we are underway in the second half of Sky Blue's home opener.
And you see right off the bat, Tasha Kai going about 1,000,000 miles an hour running at the Spirit defender.
Obviously, Sky Blue wearing the blue kits, and they'll be heading from the left side of the field to the right side. Washington wearing the red, white, and blue, and they will be heading from the right to the left now.
Your life. Meridian has created a playlist that will get your heart rocking. The Lyrics for Life series will help you tune in to your health. For event info, visit meridianhealth.com/.
Ball back to Zadorsky. She picked up a yellow card in the first half. We'll see if that affects anything. Maya Hayes intercepts it. Can she hold on to it? Passes to Taylor Lytle. Lytle has some options. Shauna Gordon now, player out of Long Beach State, passes back to Lytle. She's being pressured by Lohman. And it's taken away. Crystal Dunn has come all the way back to intercept the ball for the Spirit. Killian plays it back, and now Sky Blue will start over a little over a minute into this second half of action. Again, if you're just joining us in this game, Allie Krieger of the Spirit scored a goal in the 40th minute, and that pushed the Spirit on top against Sky Blue, trailing for the first time this season. Also, if you are just joining us, I'm Corey Cohen with my partner Dan Laletta here on this NJ Discover broadcast of Sky Blue FC soccer.
Right off the bat in this half, a rare lazy ball by Shalina Zadorsky. Maya Hayes came in, intercepted it. Sky Blues had the possession ever since until right this second.
And so here come the Spirit. It's open. Matheson gives it to Stengel. She's all alone. Ball is lost, and it looks like Christy Rampone was able to interrupt that play from Katie Stengel. What a great job by Rampone. Again, she's 40, Stengel is 24, and yet Rampone got the better of her that time.
Not sure why Stengel's first touch wasn't to shoot, but when she did not shoot it on the first touch, a fantastic recovery run by Rampone. Right there, I think she could have shot it, maybe giving Casey some trouble.
And Katie Stengel, again, coming over from FC Bayern Munich Frauen, helped them win the 2015 Bundesliga title. And she's looked a little bit rusty so far. This her second game in NWSL action. Ball outside of the box, about 20 yards out. but Naren can't get a shot off. We'll see a counterattack now. Kelly O'Hara's playing on the right side, so we'll see if that continues. No, it looks like she's going to head back over left.
Yeah, she takes those corners, so I guess she got hung up over there.
Now we see Washington bringing the ball. Lohman has it. Lohman previously played for Boston, so last week probably an interesting week for her as the Spirit defeated the Breakers 1-0. Also last week, Sky Blue beat Seattle at Seattle 2-1. Both of these teams have 3 points. The winner of this game will stand alone at the top of the table.
And it's worth repeating again, first team ever to beat the Reign at Memorial Stadium. They had been 16-0-6 in the regular season, 2-0 in the playoffs. They did, during that streak, have to play the final at Starfire and lost that to FC Kansas City. So the streak wasn't as perfect as it seemed, but still pretty good fortress at Memorial. And you know what? 16-1-6 is pretty good, too.
It still is very good. And yes, Sky Blue, obviously a completely different mindset this year with head coach Christy Holly from Ireland, assistant coach Paul Greig from Scotland. And between those two, they've really set up a brand new culture here with Sky Blue. Almost none of the team in terms of the starting 11 is the same when you talk about the end of last year's team and then heading into this year. And so even though the team ended on a somewhat of a hot streak at the end of last season, and obviously have started out pretty well, at least just in the one game against Seattle, they are almost two completely different teams. And coaches Holly and Greig have set up their own culture here. Again, earlier I was talking to the coaches. They said that they need to win this game to really make sure that people can't just write off the win in Seattle. Cross into the box. It's deflected. Shot! Save by Caroline Casey, as that was a shot from Diana Matheson.
Matheson's been lively here in the second half. I think, you want to win this game. Even if you don't win the game, you want to come up with a good performance. I think if it ended like this, it might be a little bit disappointing just because there really hasn't been any attack generated whatsoever.
And we saw Diana Matheson take the shot, and Caroline Casey, the rookie goalkeeper, get her hand on the ball. Corner kick, cross into the box. It's headed away, and Sky Blue clears the danger. Zadorsky passes it forward, headed by Tasha Kai. Header is up in the air. Aaron Simon going for it. Crystal Dunn gets a piece. Now Shauna Gordon. And Raquel Rodriguez sends it attempted for Kelly O'Hara, but now with the ball is Allie Krieger. In the midfield here. Kleiner. We're in the 52nd minute of action. Lohman has the ball. Pass to Alyssa Kleiner. She tries to cross, deflected off of Maya Hayes. And we will see, or it looks like last touch from Washington is we'll see a goal kick for Sky Blue.
Yeah,
it looked like last touch from Maya Hayes to me.
It did touch Hayes. I guess it went back off Kleiner before it skipped out of bounds. No argument from the Washington side.
So something was more obvious to them than it was to us up here in the booth.
We're usually the last to know up here.
Exactly. That's pretty much the standard. Lohman now. Dunn gets a piece. Now Matheson. And back to Lohman. Simon working on Joanna Lohman. Lohman cuts back. Simon falls. Gets back up. And Lohman plays it all the way back to Zadorsky. Cross into the box. Shauna Gordon. Now Taylor Lytle. And Raquel Rodriguez. Tasha Kai has the ball. Looks like her hair's down. I don't think she started the half that way. I don't know if it came out.
Either.
So now on the left wing, ball is inside the box with Shauna Gordon. She passes back, but offsides. It looks like Shauna Gordon was ruled offsides when she got the pass in the box. Still 1-0 Washington here in the 53rd minute of play. And Stephanie LeBay will take a goal kick for the Spirit.
And you can see with LeBay's hand up, the sun still a little bit of an issue. So Sky Blue would be very wise to be floating balls about 6 to 12 yards in front of LeBay and putting her to the test.
And that very well may be part of the reason why Caroline Casey didn't make the save in the one goal that Washington has in this game. That was Krieger, as Casey just misjudged it. Part of that might have been the sun. We'll try to find out after the game. But we will see if Sky Blue is able to capitalize on that now that the sides have switched in the second half of play. Ball with Skrosky again. The anchor of Rutgers last season, as they had their best season ever. When you look at it, they made the semifinals for the first time. Skrosky led that defense right here at Rutgers, and she's back at Yurcak Field, now playing professionally for Sky Blue FC. She was second-team All-American last year for the Scarlet Knights.
Spoke to her at the draft after she was selected by Sky Blue. Extremely calm and composed in a moment where an awful lot of draft picks are not necessarily lacking composure, but a lot of them are very nervous. Skrosky seemed right at home talking about being drafted and going to play for Sky Blue.
And now she is literally back at home here at Yurcak Field in Piscataway.
Rodriguez, too, by the way, was also on hand at the draft. Very, very impressed with both of those players and how they conducted themselves that day.
Rodriguez picked second overall. She's not from around here, although she spent 4 years at Penn State, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that far away, but she is a Costa Rican international. They also selected, obviously, Caroline Casey in goal, who's starting, and Leah Galton, who will likely get a whole bunch of minutes later this season, but right now she's finishing up her degree at Hofstra. She'll graduate in a couple weeks and then rejoin the team. She was with them in training. Tasha Kai, she was offsides as the fans here were getting excited. Tasha Kai, though, was ruled off by the lines judge.
A lot of positive feedback. I don't get to see the team play during preseason, but a lot of positive feedback from Leah Galton. And there is a feeling that when Galton and Samantha Kerr come into the lineup, that there will really be a new kind of attacking scheme for Sky Blue. Kerr, of course, won't be here that consistently because Australia is in the Olympics and she'll be going in and out a little bit to join up with Australia. But those two players should really add another dimension or two to the Sky Blue attack. And as you can see tonight, they could use it.
Yeah, Coach Holly was telling me it'll be a few more weeks before Sam Kerr is ready to play, leading scorer last season for Sky Blue. But when they have her and Galton along with Kai, they'll get that attack. They did score 2 goals last week against Seattle, but right now you can tell they need some offensive presence. Dunn passes to Matheson. She's all alone. She was onside. Right past Caroline Casey. Washington gets their second goal, and the Spirit have taken control of this game in the 56th minute.
And that was really fantastic by both Dunn and Matheson. They seem to have woken up their connection here in the second half, and the finish there went right through the legs of Caroline Casey, but the keeper's really in no man's land at that point. A fabulous through ball by Dunn, perfectly timed, and Matheson, what we were talking about earlier with Stengel, the first touch, boom, right toward goal, and it's 2-0.
Yeah, it's very tough. As you said, no man's land. What can you do there? That said, it's always difficult when you see the ball go right through your keeper's legs. So a tough day so far for Caroline Casey. A stellar game last week in Seattle. This game, though, she struggled more so.
Well, very rarely can you come into a pro league and not have any sort of interruptions of playing well. And goalkeepers in particular, men and women, peak later than other field players. A lot of goalkeepers, their best years are late 20s into mid-30s, and you even see like Casey Keller played well into his 40s. So not unusual for a young keeper to make a mistake or two, although I don't feel like that was a mistake.
No, that's just a tough play to make. But when I was speaking to Coach Holly, and as you were speaking to him before he made the decision to go with Casey, he said, whichever keeper he goes with, you have to do it with confidence. And when he was talking to me just a few days ago as Tasha Kai, it looked like a foul, but no, they're not going to call it. They're going to keep playing. And Simon was offsides. Fans are frustrated. But as Coach Holly was saying, that once he makes that decision, he wants to stick with that person and give them some breathing room so they're not constantly looking over their shoulder. Caroline Casey is backed up by Caroline Stanley, and you actually found out they knew each other when they were about, 9 years old?
I think a little older than that, but the funny thing was that Sky Blue didn't even realize that. They brought them both in, and then they found out then. One of them's 2 years. I guess Stanley is about 2 years older, but yeah, when they were teenagers, they actually knew each other, trained together.
And so he doesn't want to make it anything where, in this particular case, Casey would be looking over her shoulder to see Stanley there. She wants to give Casey the opportunity to be able to make mistakes, especially considering the fact that she's a rookie and hoping she can grow. Shauna Gordon has the ball in an attacking midfield position. Pass back to LeBay.
By the way, my fellow NWSL and women's soccer stat geek Jen Cooper of KeeperNotes.com has let me know that for Allie Krieger, her first half goal, her first in the league since May 7th, 2014 against Seattle.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, she is a fullback, so
not a goal scorer.
Not terribly surprising.
And missed a lot of time last year. She got hurt on opening night last year and didn't play again for the Spirit until after the World Cup. And then she wasn't even a fullback when she came back, spent a lot of her time as a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, Allie Krieger, very talented player, starter on that women's national team, played all 7 World Cup games for the women's national team in the World Cup. And in fact, she played all but 10 minutes of that World Cup, so she's one of the mainstays for that squad. Very talented. We see a substitution ready to come in at the next dead ball. Ashley Nick is about to check into this game.
And it looks like she'll replace Shauna Gordon. And that's an example of the lack of attacking depth on Sky Blue's bench. Gordon is more of an attack-minded player than Nick. Nick came into the game last week in Seattle, and Leslie Gallimore on the Rain broadcast said her one goal, win balls in midfield. That was when Sky Blue had the lead. It's a totally different animal now, trying to score 2.
Ball now with Simon. We're here in the 60th minute, so about a half an hour to go. Washington leading 2-0. So far, not a great opening game for Sky Blue FC. They'll need to turn it around pretty quickly.
And the Spirit clearly made a halftime adjustment because they're moving the ball a lot more fluidly. As I say that, a giveaway from Kleiner. But Spirit moving the ball a lot more fluidly, particularly in the attacking third since halftime.
And so here is the substitution. Ashley Nick checking in for Shauna Gordon. Nick, a graduate of USC. She joined the team this offseason, but I should say she rejoined the team. She previously was a member of Sky Blue FC, spent the last season, 2015, with the Western New York Flash. Came back to Sky Blue this offseason, and now she is on the field with the squad.
When she first came to Sky Blue in 2013, she was playing for Pally Blues and won the championship with Pally Blues. And literally, during the celebration, she got the tap from the GM, Charlie Nemo, and said, "Jim Gabera's on the phone, wants to talk to you." And a few days later, she was here at Yurcak Field helping Sky Blue win a game, and she's been in NWSL ever since. Did get released at one point, but has been at this level since that happened. Pretty cool.
She seemed to be having a lot of fun with that SBFC challenge on Twitter. Again, a lot of fun things. If you check out the hashtag SBFC challenge, you'll see what Sky Blue did with chemistry this past week, and a lot of the players, there are some very entertaining photos that they got on the checklist. It was basically a scavenger hunt around New Jersey of just absolutely absurd things to do. Coach Paul Greig said the crazier the better, and build chemistry and see the players develop and grow together. And he said it was very successful in what they were able to do last week. So far on the field, though, not as successful tonight. They trail Washington 2-0 in the 62nd minute.
And we need to be honest about the fact that the Spirit are one of the top teams in the league. It's early in the season. On paper, they are one of the top teams in
and again,
this
if they win this game, they're at the top of the table by themselves.
But I think for Sky Blue, you'd like to see them here in the last half hour, even if they don't come back and level the match, get some shots, generate some sort of attack. They should have more freedom now to send numbers forward, trying to chase the 2-goal deficit.
Ball now played back to Tori Huster. Sent into the box. Header won by Rampone. Dunn, again, not a very tall player, but wins that header in the box. Now Krieger. Ball finally hits the ground. Krieger sets it forward to Dunn. Dunn on the right flank. Lohman back to Krieger. This is crossed into the box and easily taken care of by Sky Blue. Raquel Rodriguez passes forward, intended for Aaron Simon. And Simon with a nice deflection. Let's see if Sky Blue can counter. Aaron Simon all the way forward. She plays right back. Gets it to Maya Hayes. She's inside of the box. Hayes tries to cross. She can try again. Towards the goal line, it's knocked out, and so we'll see a corner kick. Last touch by Zadorsky.
Zadorsky's having quite a strong game in central defense for Washington.
Again, playing with a yellow card, and yet we haven't seen it affect her performance, at least so far here in the second half, after she picked up the yellow.
O'Hara's going to take this corner. I think earlier I maybe made a reference to O'Hara taking a corner for the Spirit, so apologies for that.
That is broken up.
That was about as good as a corner kick for the Spirit right there. Not the best corner kicks today for either side.
Sent forward for O'Hara. She was on. Crosses it in. Lots of power there. Kai going for the header. She gets it, but an easy save for Stephanie LeBay. There was contact. Kai trying to get a foul, a whistle. They won't get it. Looks like a player for the Spirit is injured, at least a little bit.
Looks like Krieger.
That is Allie Krieger. And she's going to walk it off. Doesn't look like a major injury, just a minor. Little nick as we see there.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and Tasha Kai was hoping for a foul. If anything, that could have been a foul against Kai.
Yeah, I think so. When you play soccer with Natasha Kai, chances are there's going to be some collisions.
Again, she's played rugby the past few seasons.
Yeah, probably helped.
It's one of the
collisions.
By far, probably the toughest sport in the world. You get a player who's just been a couple seasons playing rugby. You don't want to mess with her on the field.
Yeah, Kai was actually drafted by the Spirit in 2013 when they had the general draft. The Spirit did draft Kai, and she elected not to come play in the league, and here she is a few years later playing against them.
She did make her return to Sky Blue. The fans, Cloud9, the supporters group, all very happy about it. She has energized the club, along with the win last season, and just the differing styles between Coach Holly now and Coach Jim Gabera, who coached Sky Blue the past few seasons and is now coaching the Washington Spirit.
469-551. If you have that winning raffle ticket, 469-551, please bring the winning ticket with the number.
So now Taylor Lytle has the ball, sets it forward. She's got Hayes. Hayes takes the shot and scores! Sky Blue has turned this into a game in the 66th minute. Goal for Maya Hayes, her first start of the 2016 season. And Hayes puts Sky Blue FC on the board. They trail 2-1 here in their home opener.
And there you can see, if we backed it up a little bit further, Lytle will get the assist, but before that, Raquel Rodriguez showing how good she is on the ball, because Rodriguez had two defenders on her, very calmly managed to get the ball to Lytle, and then Lytle to Hayes for the assist. Assist to Lytle, goal for Hayes. So Conheeney comes out, Hayes comes in, and Hayes does what Conheeney did, which is score a goal. First one conceded this season by the Spirit, who will bring in Shayna Williams for her professional debut right now.
So Katie Stengel checks out of the game, still scoreless in her two-game NWSL career. And Shayna Williams, drafted 7th overall this offseason in the draft, played for Florida State in college, scored 10 goals last year after she transferred after a couple seasons at Vanderbilt. And Shayna Williams in the game to play that center forward position. As you said, officially, Taylor Lytle with the assist, but a great play from Raquel Rodriguez. Similar Dan, to the goal that we saw, the first goal last week that Natasha Kai scored. Kelly O'Hara got the assist. But if you look, the play was really set up, that one by Sarah Killian, who made a spectacular pass to find Kelly O'Hara streaking down the left wing, who then found Natasha Kai in the goal.
Almost always there's a play prior to the assist that is actually the key to having the goal happen.
And last week we saw in that first goal, it was Sarah Killian. In this one, Rocky Rodriguez. Between those two players anchoring the midfield for Sky Blue, they've got an incredibly bright future. Again, both players number 2 overall draft picks. Rocky Rodriguez this past offseason, Sarah Killian the year before. And those two players will without a doubt be very dangerous. You've got to be really confident if you're a Sky Blue FC fan and you see those two anchoring your midfield.
Details are coming soon. A free trip with
Yeah, they're both young, and they should have a lot of years together. We haven't, it's the first time we're into a 4th season of a women's pro league, but the history, even among the leagues in the first 3 seasons, has been a lot of player turnover. It would be nice if you could get some teams, kind of like what Seattle has done, parts of FC Kansas City, where you can keep players together. It would be really nice to see Rodriguez and Killian in the midfield here for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Absolutely, and Killian, she was another member of that U20 World Cup championship team a couple years ago. And you wouldn't be too surprised to see her really competing for the women's national team in the next couple of years. She's got a whole lot of talent and, again, very, very young.
And that great UCLA team, she was picked number 2. And then Sam Mewis and Abby Dahlkemper went 3-4.
Offsides call. Washington had a chance.
I believe in the reverse order. And then Megan Oyster was also on that UCLA team, went 13. And Caitlin Rowland, the goalkeeper for Kansas City, who looks like Tiara Parent and Nicole Barnhart, all got picked from UCLA in 2015.
Ball now with Ashley Nick.
As always, if you do choose to drink alcoholic beverages, please do.
Now Rodriguez finds Simon, looking for Maya Hayes, but it's played back to LeBay. Nice boot towards midfield. Ashley Nick wins the ball, tries to get it to Taylor Lytle, finds her, but Killian can't get the pass from Lytle. Oyster looking for Shayna Williams, can't find her. Sky Blue has the ball in the midfield. Killian to Nick. Ashley Nick falls as she gets rid of the ball. Now Crystal Dunn. She's guarded by Rampone. Rampone heading all the way back and tracking Dunn. So Washington still with the build-up, but they lose the ball. Rocky Rodriguez tries to intercept, but Lohman sends it towards the middle. Tori Huster. Now Krieger moving forward. We're here in the 71st minute. 2-1, Washington Spirit have the lead in the Sky Blue FC home opener. And it looks like the sun is really starting to set, which means that's probably good news for the Spirit, particularly for Stephanie LeBay, as the sun won't be in her eyes for the rest of the game as it was in the first half for Caroline Casey in the beginning of the second half here at Yurcak Field. So now the ball is with Kleiner. She sends it for Diana Matheson.
Sky Blue now giving the Spirit a lot less time on the ball. Diana Matheson not too concerned with her great footwork.
Shayna Williams is called offsides. And so we'll see a kick from Sky Blue. And you're right, Dan, this team now, Sky Blue, playing with some more urgency, as maybe when you're down 2-0, you might not be playing for a win if there are, say, 20 minutes left or 25, but maybe just to put on a good performance. Now that you have at least a draw in sight, you really want to go all out for it.
Absolutely, and you're now showing just in the last 5 or 7 minutes that you can move the ball around a little bit, and maybe created one chance and scored. Maybe you can create another one. That last play was offsides on Hayes.
And this is a Washington team that, Dan, we talked about earlier, is one of the tops in the NWSL. This is a team coming off a semifinals appearance last year in the playoffs. And they're certainly hoping not just to get back, but to go even further this season with their additions in LeBay, in Stengel, in Shalina Zadorsky. Sky Blue challenging here. O'Hara sends it in. Natasha Kai has it about 19 yards out. She's going to slow it down. Pass to Ashley Nick. Now the ball with Erin Simon playing up. Crosses it into the box. That's almost a shot right off the top of the post. And I don't think she intended for that to be a shot. Maybe she did. I can't quite tell. But the way that it curved, or I should say didn't curve, it ended up being a shot and rather close to going in.
I think LeBay had it covered, but those are really dicey.
Well, it's sort of similar to what we saw from Allie Krieger, the first goal of the game, which, again, I'm not sure if that was intended to be a shot or not. Caroline Casey, you'd think would have it. She thought she had it, and it just went right over. So in dicey shots like that, you never quite can tell what's going to happen. And even when it seems like a player's got it covered, sometimes it slips right above their fingertips, as it did with Caroline Casey earlier.
The Spirit right now have their hands full with Maya Hayes, who is pushing Alyssa Kleiner and really challenging everything that Kleiner's doing on that left side.
A yellow card for Kelly O'Hara, her first of the season. She's appealing to the referee, as we saw a bit of a slide tackle on Crystal Dunn there. Again, the head referee, Matthew Kreitzer, gives that yellow to Kelly O'Hara. We'll see that play here. Not malicious, but you could say maybe reckless.
Easily a yellow, and she got the warning earlier for a similar play on Dunn. Not the first national teamer on national teamer yellow in the league. Heather O'Reilly with a pretty vicious tackle on Jaylene Hinkle on opening night. And Hinkle actually wound up with a fractured toe and couldn't play for Western New York last night.
And again, the other national teamer on the field, Allie Krieger, we saw her pick up a yellow card, not in this game, but last week against the Boston Breakers.
O'Hara. Yellow card,
so tonight, 2 yellow cards, 1 for Shalina Zadorsky of Washington, 1 for Kelly O'Hara of Sky Blue. Shayna Williams sends it in for Crystal Dunn. She gets contact with it. It'll head back in. Matheson crosses it, goes over the head of Casey, but Kelly O'Hara is right there to sweep it out of the box.
Casey was lucky there were no Spirit players on the far post, or that was more than likely going to be in the back of the goal.
Caroline Casey, again, 5'7". So she doesn't have the height of, say, Stephanie LeBay, who's 5'10". Ball here with Matheson. Simon challenging, but it's knocked out by Rampone. Forward for Crystal Dunn. She finds Shayna Williams, who's all alone in the box, but a great slide tackle. I believe that was Erin Simon. Came in through open tryouts, has made the team, started both games, and that surely looked like a goal. Erin Simon broke it up.
Sure did. Again, maybe too many touches or a touch too many.
Maybe you take that shot just one stride earlier, and that could have been a goal to really put this game away for Washington.
And maybe, if you're not 15 minutes into your pro career for Shayna Williams, she takes that sooner next time.
So we'll see a goal kick from the Washington Spirit. 76th minute here. About 15 minutes for Sky Blue to do something. And it looks like another substitution in a couple minutes. Danielle Schulman, who I believe was listed on the injury report, although Christy Holly said that she was better off this week. She was another player who joined the team from open tryouts, and this is something that is pretty unprecedented in the NWSL. How many players not only are on the roster from open tryouts, but are now going to be playing in the games?
And she won't be hard to spot. She's got number 88 on the back of her uniform.
So Danielle Schulman, local from New Jersey, set to check in. And so we'll see her in a few minutes. She is a forward for this squad, so we'll see who she enters the game for.
Speaking of Jaylene Hinkle, Flash signed Meredith Speck, not necessarily out of open tryouts, but she had been with them through preseason, and they signed her to a contract essentially on Friday, and she stepped right into Hinkle's starting spot.
So she's going to come into the game for Taylor Lytle. Lytle, who earned the assist in the earlier goal, along with an assist last week. She's played very well so far.
She has. I think she's a really big key for Sky Blue this season because I feel like last year she was coming back from that broken leg that she suffered in 2014 and probably rushed back a little bit because the team just needed her to. And I don't feel like she ever got her footing last season. And I think for 2 games here, she's off to a pretty good start in 2016.
Absolutely. She is really hitting the peak of her career. Crystal Dunn takes a shot just wide of the net. Big shot from Crystal Dunn. And as we were talking about, Taylor Lytle now leads Sky Blue FC with 2 assists. She has been a talented player, but it looks like this season she could really take a big step up. In high school, again, she's from Las Cruces, New Mexico. She was the New Mexico Player of the Year in 2005, won the state championship, just turned 27 years old. And as you said, probably going to be a big part of this season for Sky Blue, because we know they've got those anchors in maybe a bit of a defensive midfield that can attack at some point, like Sarah Killian, like Rocky Rodriguez. And we know they've got some strikers in Natasha Kai and when they come back from injury and from school respectively in Sam Kerr and Leah Galton. But that attacking midfielder role can very well go to Taylor Lytle. She can lead this team.
I wonder if we'll see Rodriguez play a little bit higher as the season goes along.
It looks like it's some great footwork there. Yeah. Rocky Rodriguez to Maya Hayes outside of the box. Gets rid of it. Ball now back to Rodriguez. And again, Dan, sort of the theme of today is when you take the shot, sometimes a little too late. That one looked a bit too early from Rodriguez.
Yeah, I was saying I wonder if she'll go a little bit higher as the season goes along. But she has impressed me defensively in these 2 games so far. And it's hard when you see like Costa Rica play the United States to get a sense of how well those midfielders defend, because sometimes that's all they're doing, because the U.S. can just possess the ball down your throat when you're Costa Rica. But I've been impressed with Rodriguez's 2-way play. Here she is on the ball again, plays it backwards.
Forward now looking for Tasha Kai, and LeBay will pick it up right in front of Maya Hayes. A little more than 10 minutes to play here in the home opener for Sky Blue FC. Washington leading 2-1. Tasha Kai now challenging LeBay. And so, ball on the outside here. And taken away. We'll see a counter. Matheson working with the ball on the left side. She's just outside of the box. Knocked out by Aaron Simon. We'll see a corner kick for the Spirit.
One thing I like that the Spirit have done in these 2 games is that they're not sitting back on their lead. Sometimes in the Mark Parsons era, they would get a lead, they would pack 5 defenders on, and they would sit back. Sometimes because they weren't talented enough to possess the ball, but I'm a fan of teams, especially ones that can possess the ball, that try to possess the clock to 90 rather than just kind of wait it out and defend.
And so it looks like we'll see if they want to cross it in. Christine Narin is here in case there wants to be a short, if they want to go with a short pass.
A little stalling doesn't help either.
Sent into the box, headed out by Rocky Rodriguez. About 18 yards out. And I believe that was Nick who got a piece of it. Tasha Kai can set up a play here. Danielle Schulman, fresh into the game, has the ball on the left wing. Schulman, 18 yards out now. In the box, crosses it in. Schulman, and right back to Sky Blue. Schulman has it yet again in the box. Loses it, but we will see a corner kick for Sky Blue in the 82nd minute.
Kai's making me look bad about what I said at halftime, that she's never been a real 90-minute player. Still a lot of energy in minute 82.
Especially, not just, throughout your career, but in her second game back after stepping away from soccer for a few seasons. That's incredibly impressive. Corner kick from Sky Blue. In the box, hit away by Stephanie LeBay. And Dunn boots it up, but Sky Blue gets the ball right back. Ball is forward here on the left wing, out of bounds, and we'll see yet another corner for Sky Blue. So a big opportunity. Just about to enter the 83rd minute. Sky Blue with the corner kick. Kelly O'Hara, as per usual, will take it.
Allie Krieger having a little chat with the referee. Looks like after the corner, the next dead ball will get Callie Farquharson. Another Spirit draft pick will be coming in.
Crossed into the box from the corner. Off the mark. Rodriguez fighting for it, and she gets fouled. So we'll see a free kick now for Sky Blue. That foul on Shayna Williams. No card, though.
And Kai's a little shaken up. I couldn't tell if that was Kai that got a head on it, but she's holding her face and on one knee.
And certainly Kai's normally the player that stands out. Obviously, a very distinctive player, but I agree. I couldn't see exactly what happened. Rocky Rodriguez has the ball in the box, creates some space, takes a shot. Great save by LeBay. Rocky Rodriguez has done everything tonight. She's been great in a center defensive mid role, but in the past few minutes we've seen her attacking, and she has been stellar.
She has a real sign of things to come. She is a special player.
Look at the curve, and LeBay doing a great job reading that ball and the trajectory of it. But Raquel Rodriguez, just her second game with Sky Blue after being drafted, and she's already made an instant impact. Killian loses it there. Speaking of second overall draft picks, she was from the year before. Shayna Williams keeps it in bounds, cuts on a dime, creates some space, pass in. It's broken up. Right back to Williams, broken up yet again, this time by Simon. We'll see a corner.
Another example where Williams probably didn't need to take that first touch. A one-time cross in there might have been able to find Crystal Dunn.
And it looks like before this corner kick, we'll see the substitution. Callie Farquharson ready to check into the game.
And I'll just offer a quick anecdote while we have a moment. Sky Blue goes on Friday night to play the Houston Dash. So we know Randy Waldrum will be watching the game. And I spoke to Randy Waldrum the other day, and he said usually he's so locked into the game that he mutes the commentary. So Randy, if you're watching and if you're listening, hello from Dan and Corey up here in the booth, and hopefully the news on Carly Lloyd comes back as positive as it can be. And if you're not listening, then you'll never know we mentioned your name.
Exactly. I was going to say, if he doesn't listen, then he'll have no idea. That is caught by Caroline Casey. About 5 minutes to play. Casey boots it forward. Farquharson will come in. She's a forward. 12th overall pick in the 2016 draft. Graduated from Arizona State.
And a very impressive debut in a very similar role off the bench. Played a few more minutes last week against Boston. Was dangerous. Held the ball up very well.
Attention fans of the wristband to take a photo with Shauna Gordon and Kelly Gonhini after the game.
So now we'll see a free kick for the Washington Spirit. Stephanie LeBay will come out of goal to take it. No surprise that Washington is going to be trying to milk the clock as best they can. Nice boot forward from LeBay. A little too high for Shayna Williams, but Lohman is on the ball. Passes for Farquharson. Farquharson creates space, crosses it into the box, and a nice clearance from Sky Blue. I believe that was Sarah Killian. If she wasn't there, Crystal Dunn would have had possession and a good look at the goal. Header from Simon. Maya Hayes passes forward, finds Rodriguez. Now Kai, but she sort of misses it as it looked like she was ready to turn and go, but turned before she had possession of the ball. Lohman passes back to Zadorsky. Under 4 minutes to play before extra time. Stoppage time, I should say. It is 2-1 here between the Spirit and Sky Blue FC. Ball here with Farquharson. Crosses it looking for Williams. She finds Dunn on the outside of the box. Cuts, takes the shot just over the net. That could have been an incredible goal for Crystal Dunn. Caroline Casey did everything she could, but a couple feet lower, and no one would have had a shot at that.
Dunn's not on the score sheet yet this season with a goal, but she is really showing some of the magical things she can do on the balls. We'll get the final Sky Blue substitution now.
And so we see entering the game, I believe that's Kim DeCesar
And DeCesar's going to be up on top in the box, and she's going to be looking to win balls with her head, and she's good at it.
Kim DeCesar. She replaces number 8, Erica.
And so she'll come in for Erica Skrosky.
Comes in the 88th minute. DeCesar for
And so that's clearly a move
Sky Blue.
to make this team more aggressive. Skrosky is center back, Kim DeCesar, an attacking midfielder or a forward, depending on where you put her. And so this team losing a defender for the last few minutes to gain an attacking player. Kim DeCesar from Massapequa Park, New York, just 24. Played for a couple other teams after graduating from Duke.
And I thought she really made an impact last season in her limited minutes, got held up with some injuries. I think she's another player who can be a key for Sky Blue, because I think she can come off the bench and help up top, and I think she can come off the bench and help defensively. But again, right now, they're going to want her to get her head on balls in the box and set up teammates.
Caroline Casey, 89th minute. Does Sky Blue FC have any magic in this game? It's their home opener. They trail by 1 goal, and the clock is running out of time. Ashley Nick into the midfield. Danielle Schulman has the ball. It's out of bounds. Throw in for Sky Blue. She takes it immediately. A foul called against Washington. And here's a free kick for Sky Blue in the 89th minute. Now the 90th minute. Sent into the box. But it's knocked away by Washington. Lohman sends it out, and we'll see another throw-in for Sky Blue. That'll take some time off the clock, though.
Kept on the field by the referee. Any additional time will be indicated by the 4th official on the sideline.
Out of bounds this time. It's a throw-in for Washington, and they can milk some clock with this. Headed by Killian Rampone. Sends it forward. But now Washington with the ball. Killian settles forward, looking for Kai, but it's broken up. And so we're about to see how much stoppage time there will be. Looks like the 4th official will say 2 minutes. And he does.
Not very generous for Sky Blue. Not that there have been that many stoppages, but a couple of goals, multiple substitutions. Usually you get about 3, but they'll have to make do with the 2.
So some wasted time here. Shayna Williams, though, all the way up. She's in the box. Can she get a 3rd goal for Washington? No, Sky Blue clears it. Here's a shot from Lohman. Deflected.
And there's Farquharson killing some more clock.
Absolutely. Simon trying to prevent that, but now Crystal Dunn has possession, and she will take some time, cross it into the box, looking for Williams. Too much power. And so this might be the last stand for Sky Blue FC. About a minute into stoppage time now. Maya Hayes crosses it in, looking for Kai. A little too much power. LeBay's all the way out of the box, or out of the net, I should say. And we'll see a corner for Sky Blue. This is going to be one of the last plays of the game. Perhaps the last, depending on how much time it takes for them to get this corner kick off.
There haven't been a lot of dangerous corners, if any, tonight. Time for one is right now if you're Kelly O'Hara.
O'Hara takes the corner. Ball's in the box. It's loose. Maya Hayes has the ball. She scored the first goal. Pass to O'Hara. She crosses it in a second time. Header by Kai. Caught by LeBay. Could have been picture perfect for Sky Blue FC if Tasha Kai, who scored the first goal of the season with a header from Kelly O'Hara, could have scored one there in the last few seconds of the match.
And you have to be impressed with LeBay's positioning and her ability to not give up a lot of rebounds. Right place, right time. And she held on to that.
And so that will likely do it. Probably a couple more seconds here. Let's see if Sky Blue can get off another play. No, they can't. That is the final. Washington has defeated Sky Blue FC 2-1. Goals coming from Allie Krieger in the first half, and then Diana Matheson in the second half, followed by Maya Hayes for Sky Blue to make this a game, but just couldn't quite make the comeback. Washington with a solid performance. Sky Blue can take some positives out of this, but without a doubt frustrating. They couldn't get any points in their home opener. But that will just about do it for our broadcast. We want to thank everybody for tuning into this broadcast of the NWSL. We want to thank everybody here in the production crew with NJ Discover. One final time for my partner, Dan Laletta. I'm Corey Cohen signing off from New Jersey with Sky Blue FC.